All right, good day to you. My name is Fred Oakman, and as always with me today is Mr. Jake Peters. We are PS, this is Awesome, a PlayStation podcast, and this is episode 312. This is a show where we share our feelings about the current state of PlayStation, but before we get on with our show, I want to invite you all to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, youtube.com/PS. This is awesome. If you want to make fun of our trophy list on the PlayStation Network, you can find me at anchorless_81, Mr. Jake Peters at Jakesaw01. As always, you can write the show at PS, this is awesome, at gmail.com, and most importantly, don't forget to share the show with your friends. Be sure you leave comments, rate our podcast as you see fit, and I'm sure you will. We are a video podcast as well. You can watch the show if you prefer on our YouTube channel. And lastly, for new and or long-time listeners, we have a Patreon, and you can support our show at a $1 level. The Patreon tier is called the one and only $1 Club. For $1 a month, head over to www.patreon.com/PS. This is awesome to become a $1 patron, and you will get a free die-cut vinyl sticker in the mail so you can brag to the world your favorite PlayStation podcast is us, and we will give you a shout out on the show as well. With that out of the way, Jake, how are you doing today?
Fine. I mean, it's Monday, so I got some weird shit going on here. Hold on a sec. For some
Unacceptable.
reason, I'm getting an echo, and I don't
Your
know
speakers are on.
why. No, my speakers are not on. Hold on.
All right,
Hold
folks.
on,
Jake
hold
is...
on. Okay, fixed it. I was trying to get ready for practice yesterday. I had the DAW open on my computer because I can just like drop in the song, you know, and then I can kind of loop sections of it or do whatever, you know, just to kind of practice on it.
Yeah.
And having that open, it was just like fucking feeding back, like echoing everything that I was saying. So that was my issue, and I got it sorted out. Although now I don't know how the fuck. All right, I got this. Okay, so now that's sorted out. I had kind of a cool thing happen today, which was, so I have a home security system.
Okay.
And they're really nice because they're like tied to your well, I mean, they're not all this way, but like ours is like tied to our carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. So like if the house were to catch on fire or whatever, they automatically call the fire department. Like obviously if someone breaks in, they call the police, like all that kind of shit, which is really nice. But anyway, I've been having this issue with my carbon monoxide detector where it would randomly just start beeping at me. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll change the batteries. And it's like, okay, I'm good. And then like 2 days later, it would start beeping at me again. And it says that there's an error. So I called, and this is like the second or third time that it's happened. So I called the company, and they're like, okay, well, we got to run you through all like the routine to fix it. And I'm like, okay. So they run me through the routine, and I've already done this like twice or three times before. So like, and I told them this, but like, yeah, but we got to run you through. I'm like, whatever. Long story short, I got around to finally being like, hey, like I appreciate that we're doing this, and it stopped beeping, but I guarantee you in like 2 days it's gonna start again. And they were like, okay, well, since this is a recurring issue, we'll send you a new carbon monoxide detector. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So they're like, but we don't have any of them in stock, and we don't make those sensors anymore. So I'm like, what the fuck? So, but then she was like, well, since they don't make these sensors anymore and you need a new one, we're just going to upgrade your entire security system to the newest model.
Wow.
So I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, we'll send you everything. We'll send you all new sensors, all new fucking security system, sirens, everything, because the new sensors don't work with the old version of the system, which is what I have. So it's kind of cool because I was thinking around Christmas of upgrading to the new system because it was like 50% off. So I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll upgrade, but it was still pretty expensive. So I was like, I'm not going to spend the money. Mine works, whatever. And then here, I just had to fucking have a broken sensor. And they're just like, here, we'll just give you a whole new kit and caboodle for free.
Dude.
So I'm like, that's...
Now, did they have access to your sensor?
Yeah. Yeah, they could see everything that's going on while I'm on my end trying to fix things.
I was going to say, man, it's all you got to do. Anyone else out there, just tell them you have a broken sensor if you want an upgrade.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. Oh, but the other thing that happened to me, and this didn't really necessarily happen to me today, but it's just more of like a personal gripe. It should be, in my opinion, it should be, I don't think it should be illegal for, like, if you get a loan from somebody, I don't necessarily think that it should be illegal for them to sell your loan to somebody else.
Oh, I agree.
That's okay. That's fine. That's whatever.
But like the mortgage shit is annoying.
But it should be illegal for you to fuck up all of my payments and all of my freaking auto debits and my accounts and my logins and all of that shit. Because what happened is at the end of last year, they did this. They fucked up
2023 or 2022?
The end of 2023.
Okay.
They fucked up all of the federal student loan shit. All of my wife's stuff got transferred to a new account that we have to create a new account and transfer all this information in and do all this shit. Thankfully, my auto payments transfer over, so I'm still making my payments, even though I can't even get into my fucking account anymore. Or her account, I guess I should say. And then mine, I just got a notice that they're moving all my shit to a new account. We both have federal student loans, and they're on different accounts, different servicers, different shit. It's like I should be able to go to one fucking website and service all of my federal student loans. And it's so frustrating that, first of all, I think the idea of like selling debt is fucking crazy. It's like some freaking like medieval shit where you're like selling slaves and stuff almost. It kind of feels like to me. And like, I'm not saying that like I'm a slave to the government, but it's like, I don't know. It just seems like a very like a medieval concept of like selling somebody's debt to you. So it's like, oh, well, like,
we can't get them to pay this debt, but we'll sell you their debt, and then you have the right now to try to get it from them.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I like back in the old days, it's like, oh, I'm indentured to this lord, but they want something out of another lord, so they just sell my debt to this other person. Now I'm indentured to this other guy.
Right, now you owe them your life, or you owe them your fucking shit. Right. No, I know what you're saying. So,
and I get it, like, it's all about percentages and interest and all this shit, but like, if we gotta live in a world where everybody's in debt all the time, can we at least make it like reasonable for us to be able to fucking pay our debt off? Like, and I'm not even saying that like you shouldn't make your interest back and all of that, because you did loan me the money, but at least like make it easy for me to pay you.
But here's what they do: they make it so difficult. Like it's on them though too, because like if you think about it, because what they do is they sell. Let's say for the listeners who don't understand how this works, let's say that I owe, to make it simple, $500 to somebody, and I haven't been able to pay it, or I'm paying in such small. My monthly payments are like $5 a month. This debt company is like, it's gonna take for fucking ever. By the time it's not worth it to us. So like we'll sell this for $450 to Jake, and we'll get our $450 sooner than we would our $500 from him, and we'll take the $50 loss. And then Jake now he's out $450, but he can get $500 back if he's just patient enough. Or if he just, so like it works for both people, kind of. But in the meantime, I'm getting fucking yanked all over the place. It's like, when am I paying you? What's the interest rate hasn't changed. Okay, but now, and like you're saying, like now my way of paying you, like I now got to create a login for your website, Jake. I got to figure out, the payment plan. I got to upload my payment information, but maybe the auto pay is still just rolling. But man, it is. We live in this crazy society where that happens all the fucking time. As soon as we bought our house, like a week later, like I think we might have had a mortgage to like First Niagara or something. I don't know, some bank account.
Yeah.
A week later, we got this letter from First Niagara saying that they sold our debt to Wells Fargo. And now Wells Fargo will be the owner of the mortgage and stuff or whatever the fuck. And it's like, okay, because as a new homeowner, I'm already nervous and I had everything lined up, ready to rock and roll for payments. And they're like, oh, a week later, by the way, here, you now have to square this out with Wells Fargo. Who I will say fucks us because, like, I don't know. Maybe some people think this is a mismanagement of money, but I prefer to have an escrow account, which means all of our property taxes and whatever we owe.
People who say that, dude,
they're like, oh, you should just control your fucking money instead of just like.
Unless you have some insanely like so my someone made this argument to me. It might have even been my parents that were like, oh, if you just save that money yourself, you can make interest on it while you have it,
right?
And then you can pay it off. And I'm like, I think it was like my mom or something. I'm like, Mom.
Well, she's not wrong, but
she's not wrong. But I'm like, Mom, I'm gonna make fucking 30 cents on this over the course of a year,
right?
And I have to deal with the hassle of figuring it all the fuck out myself,
right? And making sure you saved enough and yeah.
Or if I just pay into the escrow, they pay my bills, they pay everything
automatic
for me. I don't have to fuck with it.
Yeah.
And now it's like, yeah, there is. I will admit though, there is some fucking bullshit whenever, like, if you ever change your home insurance or like if like sometimes you'll not, like, your taxes will go up and you'll end up having to like pay an extra payment into your escrow account or something.
So here's the bullshit. Yeah, like, and this is what I was going to get at. So Wells Fargo, inevitably, when we bought this home, it was like, this is going to be your monthly fucking payment with the escrow. We're like, all right, yeah, cool. We can do that. Every fucking year, the city taxes go up. Every year. And at the end of every year, this year no exception, we get a letter from Wells Fargo that says, there's a shortage of your escrow for like, I don't know. It's not a lot. It was like $170. And I'm like, how the fuck is this even possible? Like, are you telling me my taxes went up 170? And it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. It's like they are permitted to take from you like a percentage more than what your taxes actually are to ensure that they have enough in there. But like, so every time they raise the taxes, which is yearly, that they're pushing that whatever 5% on top. And they're always ahead of the game. So I'm always paying more to this fucking escrow than I really should be. So I fucking mail the check out, right? This is the story. I mail the check out. And because they're like, if you don't pay this shortage, your new monthly mortgage will increase by this much more. And it's like, I know in like 12 months, it's only like an extra, like, what? $15 a fucking payment or something. But then what's going to happen next year? They're going to raise another 15. And then next year, another 15. If it's a 30-year fucking mortgage, that shit's going to add the fuck up. So I'd rather just pay this fucking shortage up front and keep my monthly payment as low as possible. So that's what I've been doing. And so I make this payment and I shit you fucking not. I get a cashier's check from Wells Fargo like January, God, I don't know, 14th or something. And there's a cover sheet and it says there was a,
you overpaid.
You overpaid. There's been a miscalculation on your escrow. I get a check for like $59.92. And then it goes on to say, we cannot assist you with how to adjust your taxes for 2023 because of this payment. You'll need to seek out professional help if you're not sure how to adjust this with your. And I'm like, nope, not gonna fucking happen because it's $50. I paid what I paid in 2023. I'll claim it as income in 2024. Fuck it, I don't even give a shit. And then I'll pay taxes on money I should have never fucking owed them. And it's like, are you kidding me right now? I'm not gonna, you know me, Jake. I do all my taxes myself. I'm not fucking paying. I don't have it like that. I can't. I can't afford. If I paid for an accountant, a tax person for my music stuff and for my independent stuff, Chelsea's taxes, we file together. If I were to pay someone to do that, I would be taking a literal net loss every year on the flood. I don't make enough money to justify it. So it's just so fucking annoying. So I do them all myself. So I'm not paying someone to tell me what to do with this $59 check. Fuck them.
You should literally just let them adjust your monthly payment because you're paying that money regardless, whether you give them a fucking check or you just pay it monthly.
It's a hill I'm willing to die on. I'm so fucking pissed over this. I understand what you're saying, but
so God. Long story short, unless you have, if you're gonna buy a house out there, unless you're fortunate enough to have the money to pay cash for your house, getting a mortgage is, I'm not kidding, probably the most stressful thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. How many years of bank statements did you have to give them? And then, like, not only that, like, you had to pretty much tell them at all the websites you visit. Like, you know, in fact, before they authorized the mortgage, before they actually approved the loan or whatever, they're like, don't make any inconspicuous withdrawals or purchases of more than like $60 or something. It's something ridiculous. Yeah. It's like gas costs
don't make
almost
any major purchases
because it'll flag the account, and then you stand to risk them doing. And I did, and they're like, if you have to do it, but then notify the institution, the financial institution, immediately when you do it, so that we can clear it, so it doesn't hold up things. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me right now? God. And then you hear about all this bullshit where some of these financial institutions were just giving fucking money away to tons of people who couldn't afford those houses. You know?
Well, that's why getting a mortgage is so fucked up now, is because of the 2009 or 2008 crisis.
Well, put the fear of God in us when we bought
they were just literally giving money away to people who couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And now it's like they require all of this. That's why you have to give them all these bank statements, all that shit, blah 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 blah. It's so that the bank can prove to the government that they're not screwing you over by giving you this loan.
Right.
But anyway, we don't have to talk about this anymore. Totally. I wanted to log on to my fucking loan servicer so I could get my tax records for the end of the year. And it's like, I can't get into mine and I can't get into Sarah's because both of ours got fucking transferred.
Dude, tax season is so stressful.
It's literally, dude, I understand the reasons why a flat tax wouldn't fucking work. But seriously, like, for the everyday person like me and you, our taxes should we shouldn't have to do them. It should be like, at the end of the year, we don't owe anything. We don't get anything back. We don't fucking do anything. And it's the people that are like really hard off, you know, we get them exceptions. Or the people that paid $2 million into charity, we give them exceptions or something. But it's like, if you have a business, maybe you should have to report your income for the flood because it's kind of like a side business.
And I do, right?
Right. But it's like, if you pay that, you should know that you owe 3% tax on that fucking money.
Yeah, but there's no hard equation, right? There's nothing.
Yeah. You send that check in. Like, it's insane. The reason why this is a super shallow view, but like, the reason why tax returns exist is because the government overtaxes you on purpose so that they have more money to fuck around with, and then at the end of the year they give some of it back to you.
So you can kiss the fucking ring.
You're basically you're acting like a bank for the government.
Yeah, no, yeah. We all are. Yeah, they have the biggest coffers. But they're still trillions in debt. Dude, here's the other thing real quick. Yeah, no. Here's the other quick thought is that, like, I 100% am okay with paying taxes. But the bottom line is like, if you were going to fucking make it so confusing for a college-educated person, don't you think it's time to overhaul the way this shit works? Like, or are all the people at TurboTax and Liberty Tax and all these places that fucking take so much money off of you so that they can do the taxes so you can live in the peace of mind knowing that you're not going to get fucking sent to jail because you didn't fucking give them the right amount of money? Like, are they lobbying so hard that, like, it's purposefully this way? I would think maybe a little bit. And here's the other thing I want to say real quick, because this is a hot item. Dude, it's disgusting, 100% disgusting, that there's not a literally free tax service that the government has. Like, some of our tax money that we pay, like, we pay taxes on income, we pay taxes on purchases, we pay taxes on property, we pay taxes on... Dude, where do you think all this fucking money for your vehicle registrations and shit goes? It goes to the coffers of government. All these fucking licenses you need. I pay a fucking stormwater fucking tax every year for where I live because I'm in part of a watershed. I have to pay an extra fee. I pay fucking tax on gasoline. It's just like, okay, can we just put the brakes on a little bit? And just like, if you're going to take me all these other places, don't charge me to fucking write up my taxes to figure out how much more I owe you. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, just can you not just tell me what I owe you? Can you not set up a free place that's staffed by government people that I can trust, that no tax law, that will look at my shit and be like, okay, here's your tax form. You've done everything correct, Mr. Oakman. You've brought in all your verifications. You've brought in your ID. You've brought in your fucking W-2s. You've shown me the 1099s you've made for the flood, yada, 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 yada. You've done all of this shit. Let us take it from here. Free of charge. Why doesn't that exist? But instead, what I do is I pay $90 a year for TurboTax and fucking on a wing and a prayer do my taxes, and I just hope to God that someone doesn't fucking like, because I have to do the business version, the self-employed version. It's like fucking $90-some, and I wait until the very, very, very end of 2023, if not right around now, where it starts going on sale for like 30% off, and I take it. Otherwise, it's like $130. And then I'm just fucking, ugh. Dude, I'm done. Yeah. I'm done freaking out about it. But let me change the topic real quick. What is your take on pot pies?
In general or specific pot pies? Because I'm a huge fan of the chicken pot pie.
Yeah?
So, I mean, I know that you don't eat meat, so you probably have some, like, you know...
I got some options. I have options. Have you ever eaten a bad chicken pot pie?
No.
This is my point, right?
Never in my life.
Exactly. So,
dude, fucking the $1 frozen pot pies at the store are awesome. I will say they're not as good as, like, I've been known in my day to do a homemade chicken pot pie in like an actual like 9-inch pie tin.
Oh, wow.
And they're fucking lit. But I'll be honest with you, the $1 ones, Marie Callender's, whatever the fuck they are, still good.
Here's the thing. So I had myself a Marie Callender pot pie, and it had Gardein chicken in it. So it's fake plant-based chicken, which is nice that it's an option.
Sure.
I would have rather just had everything but the fake chicken in there. Like, give me the gravy, give me the carrots, give me the peas, give me the celery, whatever the fuck you put in there, and give me the dough, and I'll just eat it without any meat and just make it a vegetable pot pie. This was a chicken pot pie. The Amy's, the brand Amy, make killer vegetarian pot pies, but the Marie Callender one, first bad pot pie I've ever had, and it was because of the shitty fake meat. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like some Gardein chicken tenders once in a while. They're vegetarian chicken tenders, but in that sitting bacon in that wet gravy for an hour because they also take way longer than they should to bake. Like you fucking on a cold winter day like today, you want to fucking eat a pot pie and then you get it out and it's like heat the oven up to 420 degrees and it's like put in the oven for 60 minutes and then
why don't you just fucking microwave it, dude?
Because
they're fine in the microwave.
Yeah, but I've kind of been raised on like it's not as good if you nuke stuff. Like it doesn't taste as good.
But not a fucking frozen pot pie.
You're probably right.
Almost the same.
Yeah, you're probably right. I do
generally agree with you, but you're talking about 3 minutes versus fucking 60. I think you can definitely make an exception.
Well,
the pot pie.
we also were baking other food to go with it, thankfully, because the pot pie didn't make it very long. It just went in the trash. It was pretty fucking gross. But yeah, I was wondering what
talk about games?
What your opinion was on the pot pie because
I love them.
Yeah, they're good. All right, let's move into the podcast. So we are a video game podcast for anyone who cares or knows or is listening. Every episode we talk about games that we're playing, and this episode is not any different. So Jake, I'm still playing Final Fantasy 16. I want to say I'm really close to 30 hours. I think I was around 25, 24 hours last week. We are recording this podcast a day late, but it will still release on time for all of our non-patrons. Our patrons are getting the short end of the stick. They're getting it a little bit later than normal, but still before other people. But I will say, I'm enjoying this game, but damn, they put so much effort into these worlds, these map areas, these open sandbox little areas. They just feel so empty to me. I don't know. There's not really a lot. Like, I don't know, man. It just feels empty, like this game. It feels empty to me. Although I just played a really, really awesome... I'm so back and forth on this game. I really don't mind the gameplay. I kind of enjoy the story. I love the thing, the real-time, whatever you want to call it. I love the graphics even. I love the setting, but the world just feels empty when you're walking around it. I don't know what that is. It's me being spoiled from playing Cyberpunk, I think, like you said last episode or something. It's just, I don't know. It's just, although there was a market scene I was in recently where it felt pretty realistic. And I was like, oh yeah, I can get down with this. This is kind of nice. Anytime there's population in Final Fantasy 16, I'm like, yeah, this is lit. This is really good. And I just played a really interesting section without spoiling it for anybody else, because no one will know what this means, but there's like some sort of bell tower that you're supposed to rendezvous with somebody at. Do you remember this part? Mm-hmm. And it's nighttime and you're in a city.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. That part was like, wow, this looks great. This is really cool.
Did you get through that whole section of the game?
I'm very close. No, I rendezvoused with the person and I've sent that person off so they can be safe. And I believe I fought some kind of dragon thing. And now we're an area, without spoiling, because you don't know what area I'm talking about or what's going on, but there is an area that is decimated now. And now I'm there in this in the wreckage with Jill and Torgul. And we're trying to go further in. I think we're trying to find the source of the wreckage, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
So I haven't had that battle, which I'm anticipating is going to happen, but I'm very close to that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think my week to week reporting on this game is truly how I feel. Is like part of me wants to love this game, while the other part of me is like, it's not quite finding its full potential. I feel like there are things about it that I love, and there are things about it I'm just like, why did you put so much time into making this huge ass walkabout area but have nothing to do anywhere except run into random enemies? I get that's Final Fantasy. Don't get me wrong. I fucking get it. But they almost need to rework it a little bit to make it feel. And the side quests are kind of, I've done them all so far. I've done every side quest, and that's probably why I have so many hours in where I'm at. I've done all these side quests. Some of them are all right. Most of them are just stupid. I don't know, man. I'm kind of twisted on this game. I don't regret purchasing it, and I don't regret playing it, but I'm just not, definitely not my favorite Final Fantasy. But it's so close. Yeah. It's so close to being probably able to be. Like, it scratches a lot, like, especially with the setting, the medieval shit and the dragoons and like the fucking the black shields and like the fucking like, you know, the poor kids that are walking around stealing shit, and like, you know, it's got a lot of cool stuff that like feels like Robin Hood or feels like, you know, Sir Lancelot and the fucking Sword in the Stone. It's got all that shit that makes me want to just fucking love this thing, because they do it so well. But then it's just like they bit really hard on Game of Thrones. I feel like they were inspired by all these warring families, which is still medieval in a way. But then like, it just feels, I would be, and probably people have said this about The Last of Us, I would probably be just as fine just sitting back and watching all the cutscenes and watching the story unfold. I don't feel like the gameplay gives me much. I do it because I want to see where it's going to take us. And I love the settings, and I love looking at how pretty the game is, and the art direction is all good, but I just feel like it lacks somewhere in the game department. I don't know, just a little bit. That's probably a hot take, man. I think the game did pretty well critically, but I don't know. I don't know what I expect. And keep in mind, the last Final Fantasy game I played was 7 Reborn. So I've got, is that what it's called? Reborn? Remake, yes. I'm getting that confused with Rebirth. So that was the last Final Fantasy game I've played. If I had to compare this with War of the Lions, War of the Lions would win. Old school War of the Lions would win. 100%.
Sure. Which is
crazy because it
also is a very different kind of game.
It's not turn-based. Yeah, right. I get it.
I have a feeling that you're because of the way this game plays, you're probably almost expecting it to be like a Witcher-like experience, and that's,
I don't know what
it's just not what it's. I don't know. You know, it's just maybe you just don't like it.
No, I think I did. I don't know, man. I do like it though, because I'm playing. I've got lots of. I'm not. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't keep playing it. I want to see how this thing resolves. I'm invested in the story. I'm invested in some of the characters. I love Goots. He's awesome.
Yeah.
What a cool character. I really like a lot of the characters, man. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell's going on with this mid person. I don't really know. I'm guessing she has some sort of relation with. I think that she is related to a certain somebody, and I think that's been made apparent to me already. But I think there's more to her than meets the eye. I think maybe she's traitorous.
Oh yeah, they explain that very briefly.
Yeah.
But I had the same kind of reaction as you. Like at the beginning, I was like, "Who?" Like when she first comes in, I was like, "Who the fuck is this?" And then I was like, "Oh, that's who she is."
Right.
But it's like they didn't really make it apparent.
Right. No, they didn't. I don't know, dude. I just feel like this game is good, but I'll keep talking about other games that I've tried. I tried the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown demo. I wanted to love this. I wanted to feel like I was playing Strider. For whatever reason, man, it didn't sit with me. The gameplay was fine. I might not have been in the right mood to try this out. It's not bad at all. I mean, it handles fine. It's just, I don't know, man. Maybe I've outgrown these kind of games as far as like my tastes, but it doesn't. Okay, maybe let me take it back a little bit. It's not fast paced. If it were quicker paced, I think that's the issue, because Strider's pretty fast. And like the Prince of Persia game is not, it's like regular speed platformer. I don't feel like you have to think quick on your feet. I don't feel like it challenges you in that regard. It's more, the challenges on this demo were like knowing when to parry, how to parry, avoiding like spike pits and stuff. And like, it's more geared towards, I think, exploration and stuff. I don't know. And they did do some things that I think are really cool. I think they've made a way that you can screen grab. Let's say, Jake, you're in a Metroidvania and you show up at a place where you know you need a double jump to get to. You can screen grab that area and save it to your in-game map so that you know to come back to it and where it's located. So, like, that is so awesome because I don't think I've ever not used a walkthrough for Metroidvania games because, like, I'm just like, I don't know where the fuck what am I supposed to do with this slide mechanic I just unlocked? Where do I get to slide under the thing I couldn't get under last time? You know, this game's cool because as you find these things, you can bookmark them for yourself in game. And that is going to propel Metroidvanias, moving forward indefinitely. I think everyone's going to use that in their upcoming Metroidvania games.
It's a sick feature.
Yeah.
It should be more common for sure.
I think people are going to...
It does take an element of difficulty out of the game, but I imagine that that's an element of difficulty that we can live without these days.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, we don't have to fucking go outside to take a shit anymore either, so... It's like one of those things where it's like,
do you want to be challenged?
Why not just get rid of this?
Yeah. Do you want to have a photographic memory? Do you need to have that to beat this game? Do you have to remember every nook and cranny of this fucking maze to get through it? Like, no. Because if I were the Prince of Persia or whoever the fuck this guy is, which I've heard he's not the Prince of Persia, he's just another character, I would keep a little scroll and I'd write these little locations down. Okay, about eight marks to the left, 1 up, 2 to the right is where I can do the slide mechanic. Put that in my pocket.
Yeah.
Like these people would they'd be cartographers in some way. They would remember where to go. So why are we expected to memorize that shit? Anyways, the last thing that I did, and I didn't get to play it yet. I forgot and I didn't forget. But Charlie, my dog, loves to freak out when he sees animals on TV. And I forgot how integral horses are in The Last of Us Part 2. And I started trying to play this. I got the remaster. I did the buy up path for $10. I got it. I wanted to see the extra content. I wanted to try the no turning back or whatever it's called, where you can't die. They have like daily what are they called? Man, what's it called? It's like daily rankings or something like that. And if you last like longer than other people in certain areas within like that day, you can be on the daily whatever. And I think that's a cool idea. And I think it's a really neat and interesting way to offer some replayability to The Last of Us. Because I guess the levels themselves actually change. It's like the same. They must be using AI or procedurally generated levels or something interesting to regenerate these maps in a way that feels fresh with the bad guys. And I think that's really cool. I haven't tried it, but that's what I understand. And I don't know, man. I just, I bought it, but I haven't really got a chance to fuck with it. What about you, Jake?
So, dude, I don't fucking know. I've been playing, I was telling you yesterday, I've been playing, what the hell am I playing?
Proteus.
Death Stranding.
Oh, yeah, right.
Death Stranding, I got, I'm like 12 hours into it. And I was telling you yesterday, I keep bouncing back and forth between like loving and not hating the game, but just being like kind of meh about it. And the meh parts are when I'm like fucking running around for hours with like, and I know that's like kind of the game, but I just wish that like, I don't know. I feel like there are elements to this gameplay where it feels incomplete. Like you were talking about with Final Fantasy 16. That like how like when you're running around the open world, it feels like there's not a lot to do and it's incomplete. That's how I feel about Death Stranding. It's like, why are there's literally 0 NPCs in this game? You talk to fucking holograms when you get to these areas, and they're talking about all these cities that you're going to, But you don't go to the fucking city. On the outskirts, there's like a box that you go to and you drop shit into a hole, say that you completed your run, and there's no fucking people around. You're just talking to a hologram. And the only actual NPCs that you interact with are the fucking the mules.
Yeah, right.
And they're like kind of a cool. They're like, I can't decide if it's cool or hokey that they're like, you know, they used to be delivery people, but then they went crazy. Like, and like now they're addicted to deliveries. Like, I don't know how I feel. It's like very Kojima. It's like very Kojima, but like it is a little bit weird. But my big thing is like the combat is just not fun. Like there's nothing fun about the combat in the game. I get it. They're like, you know, Norman Reedus, who or whatever the fuck his name is like, I'm not a fighter. I'm a fucking delivery boy.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I get that, but this is a game. Like I want to be able to fucking. You can give me non-lethal weapons, but like for example, I was telling you yesterday how I finally got the bolo gun. I was like, fuck, cool, I got a gun. I get it. It's non-lethal, that's fine. More. I can wrap up enemies or whatever. Yeah. And it's like, shoot a guy, he goes down, and I'm running around doing my own thing, and all of a sudden he's fucking hitting me from behind. I'm like, what the fuck? Turns out the bolo gun only incapacitates them for like 30 seconds. And then they just get up and start attacking you again. The only way for you to take them out permanently, in quotes, because you can't kill anybody, is to like sneak up behind them and wrap them up with your freaking strand, which is just a rope, and then or you got to punch them out, which when you got 15 of these fucking guys attacking you is almost impossible without, you know, getting murdered or whatever. So
dude, you just got to play it further. I promise, dude, you just got to trust me.
I know, but it's like, dude, I get that, but I fucking hate that argument.
I get it.
It's yeah. You're only 12 hours in. You got to get to fucking 20 hours in until you get the fucking thing that makes it fun. And it's like, bro, the only reason I'm playing this game is because the story is like interesting enough to hold my attention, and the trailer for the second game was fucking awesome, and I really want to I'm hoping that the second game fixes everything that I don't like about the first game. And to be fair, this game was made in like 3 years, which is really short for a AAA Kojima style game.
Yeah.
So
hats off to Kojima though, because that's crazy.
I do feel like the game was made quickly, and because of that, maybe suffered a little bit. And I will say though, like, I do enjoy some of the time when you're just like, especially when it's like sunny out and you're like walking across the landscape and you're climbing the mountains and stuff, and like one of the songs will come on.
Oh, and it's really when the songs kick in.
Like it's very cool, but then it's like, you know, I love, like, to me it's like
I gotta bridge his hat, dude. I don't know. I fucking love it.
Point A
I hear you, though.
to point B, I've got to get there. I know there's going to be the fucking time fall in the BTs, and I know there's going to be the mules and shit. And then finally you unlock the motorbike, and it's like, okay, now I don't have to run everywhere. But then the next place you got to deliver to is fucking straight up cliff sides, and there's rocks all over the place. Can't use a fucking motorbike anyway, so why'd you give it to me? But like you said yesterday, it's like, oh, well, you got to build the roads and shit. Right. And it's like, okay, I can build the fucking roads, but I got to spend 2 hours collecting metal to fucking build the road so that and it only does one little section. Yeah, it doesn't do a fucking long-ass road. So it's like you really got to love walking around in this world to like be in love with this game. And I feel like, don't get me wrong, I think the game is great from a presentation perspective. I love the story and everything that's going on. I love the idea of the game.
Oh my God, yeah.
But I honestly feel like people that say that this game is like a 10 out of 10, it's just like it's like Stockholm syndrome almost. You're like suppressing the bad shit in the game.
I don't know. I think
that because the story is so cool, and that Kojima like fucking ninjas your brain into thinking that this is awesome because of all of the fucking crazy shit that he does. And don't get me wrong, I love that about it.
Mm-hmm.
But first of all, too much shit to read in this game. I don't read any of it. Second of all, unless it like seems like it might be important. Second of all, the optional deliveries, I was like, okay, I Googled it real quick. I was like, do I have to do any of this shit? And they're like, no, you don't really have to do any of it. Just fucking follow the main story. And I'm like, all right, don't do any of them now. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to do, unless there's like optional shipments that are convenient, where it's like on the way, I'm going there anyway, I'll load the extra shit on my hover cart or my fucking back or whatever.
Map out your route,
but
yeah.
I'll be honest with you, this game does provide some of the funniest fucking shit in the world, where you've got like Sam Porter Bridges has a backpack that's like 14 feet tall because you're just throwing packages on the back of it. And then you're just running around, and then you stumble and fall down the fucking hill, and all these packages go flying all over the place.
Yeah.
Or like the thing that pisses me off but is like actually hilarious is when you get washed away in a river and like all your packages come flying off, and now you gotta like chase them down the river to try and like get them. It's like dude, I gotta be honest, there's some Benny Hill ass moments in this game when you're trying to deliver these packages, but like the BT shit is fucking awesome. Like I wish that was like more of the challenge, and I wish that like just the walking around and jumping over rocks was less of a challenge, and more of it was like the BTs, and they gave you more like tools of how to deal with them. And
have you encountered
that
like,
idea is fucking cool.
Have you encountered any of the whales yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because like when you have an important delivery, dude, and like the storm starts rolling in, you're just like, fuck, it's about to happen.
And they're like, and you get caught, and they're like fucking grabbing you and shit. And then like the whales pop up, and you have to like trudge through the black shit. It is. I do admit that part of it is awesome.
The payoff
is there. Themselves,
and that can't happen all the time, or else it wouldn't mean anything.
Yeah, but I will admit, like I just did this one boss fight where it's like, like the whole fight is me just like jumping from building to building and throwing these grenades, and it's like. It's not bad, but it's like, to me, it seems.
Do you have the blood grenades and stuff yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what the fight was like the first time you use those, because it's like this is the only way to kill BTs, and it's like, all right. I do love the idea though. I do love the idea though of like you just like pissing and shitting in your like fucking safe house, and they're like, we're gonna make a grenade out of your poop.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, okay, well, that's kind of whatever. But so anyway,
it's a filthy game.
Enough about Death Stranding.
Yeah,
because that game's been around for a while. But I will say, I'm sticking it out. I do like playing it, but I can't, like, if I play it for more than an hour or two at a time, like I start getting very just like a horse just chomping at the bit, like, let me fucking do something. Yeah. But no, I gotta just run around. And so but yeah, I'm gonna stick it out.
Have you used,
like I said, I'm like 12 hours in.
Have you used like a ladder in conjunction with the motorbike to like cross shit, like chasms and stuff?
I haven't done that yet, because to be honest with you,
fucking wild.
The coolest part about the game, and I get that like this is the whole gimmick of the fucking thing, is that when you're online and everybody else has already built all this shit for you, and then you can just kind of use it. And I think that is cool. And I do really like that, but it's like, if I'm not connected to the internet, like I'm just fucked.
Yeah.
Like I got to do all this shit manually, or like carry like more than my body weight in ladders and fucking pitons and all this crap.
And I think that's the meta narrative of the whole game is that it's, you know, how often do you drive your car on a road and not even think about like how that connects probably to every single fucking place in America?
But it's still a video game, and I still want to have fun playing it. And it's like, the other thing too is like, the reason why I looked up, do I have to do these deliveries?
Yeah.
is because like the way that the progression system works in the game is completely, it's not understandable at all. It doesn't make any sense. They don't explain to you how anything works. They're just like, if you do these deliveries, you get fucking likes. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about likes. I don't give a shit if anyone likes me. I just want to beat the goddamn game. But like somehow likes correspond to like character progression and like, dude, it's so opaque how any of this shit works that I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to mainline the game. I'm going to do the side missions that are like relevant to getting the extra equipment that I need. I will say, like, I thought the motorbike was going to be the fucking cool thing. Like, I got the bike.
Yeah.
Now I can drive around and shit. But actually, the dopest thing I've gotten so far is the power legs. Because, like, now I can carry shit and not fall down all the time.
Yeah.
Because it, like, doubles your
Keep
capacity
them
or
charged,
whatever.
dude.
So, yeah. But thankfully, like, all the structures that you encounter, they have, like, they charge for you. So as long as you're not running everywhere, they work pretty good. Anyway.
Have you real quick, have you created something in like a really difficult spot that you're like, I fucking need this here? And then you make it, and then you end up back in that area and you see other people had used it? Because that's so awesome. Like when you go back to something you put down in network, and like let's say like the game brings you back to that area, and you're like, oh yeah, I fucking remember making this thing. And you look, and it's got all kinds of likes and all kinds of little awards from other gamers who are like, thanks for fucking making this. It makes you feel so good. Like, it's interesting. It's fucking wild.
Dude, this is just this game. It's like fucking Facebook the game. And I just don't.
The game is so much bigger than that and better.
I mean, I care about the story and the narrative, but man, I just don't give a fuck about any of the likes.
Well, dude, I'm not putting shit down for other people. I'm putting it down for me. But like, you get validation. You do get validation that the thing that you fucking put down there was a good gaming move. Because if other people are using that fucking ladder, they're like, oh yeah, this is probably the, you know, as the crow flies, the quickest way to get to this destination. And people are like, oh, thank God there's a fucking ladder here. Or thank God there's a fucking rope or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that is the best part because, like, I won't play this game offline because I got to have all that shit. Like, there'll be a package in the bottom of a fucking canyon.
Oh.
And it's like, dude, I can't go down. And then you got to trudge back out with it. And but then, like, you walk over and there's a rope that goes down and a ladder that comes
like,
back up.
God.
And I'm like, all
they're
right.
probably mine.
Yeah, I will admit though, like I do run around and like every time I use something, like I like it or whatever, because I'm sure people get off on that, but it's just not. I don't know. It's very bizarre, and I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. I wish they would just be like, here's some fucking XP.
Yeah,
and it, like this is how the progression works. It's more I don't know, run of the mill. I suppose.
What would the elevator pitch be for Death Stranding?
Dude, I don't know. My feeling is that Kojima just walked into freaking Sony and was like, I'm making a game. Do you guys want in? And Sony was just like, yeah, here's a bunch of money. I don't give a fuck what it is. And Kojima was like, all right, because it's going to be this. It's going to be a doozy.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to bring in my buddy Norman Reedus and my buddy fucking Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
And we're going to make a game.
Norman's going to carry a baby around. And you know, he's gonna look badass, but he's not a fighter. You know,
dude. Sarah's been like, every so often she'll watch me play some of it. She's like, "What the fuck is this game?" Because like I'm like, you like the baby starts freaking out, and you pull it off your chest, and you have to like shake it, and like so it stops whining, and then you put it back on, and then the baby will start giving you likes and shit because you escaped some BT. And like she's like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, BB
and like,
liked your It's so good. I can't imagine explaining this game to like if you were anyone but Kojima, this game would never see the light of day. It in order for it to exist, it required Kojima and vice versa.
Yeah,
it couldn't exist in any other version of this world in reality because these two things need to line up perfectly. And I'm so glad you're playing it, and I love it. Are you playing anything else?
I do enjoy it. but I do have my issues with it. So I also was playing. I played a little bit of. I got back into Gran Turismo a little bit this week. I was playing some of that in VR. It's still so fucking good. I was actually shocked because I haven't played it in months.
Yeah.
So I was actually kind of shocked that I jumped back in and I was still like able to throw down pretty good. In the single player, dude, the guys online are fucking. Yeah. There's no way. I'm never gonna be able to compete with any of them. But I can still win races against AI, which is pretty cool. And then I downloaded. I've been kind of on the VR kick, right? So I downloaded a demo for this game called Hubris, which seemed like it might be kind of interesting. It was like a sort of like an alien like adventure, maybe a little bit of a shooter thing. And it was fucking kind of bad, so I just deleted it. I was like, I'm not buying this. And then I was watching a bunch of shit about that Vertigo 2 game.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? This looks good. It's only $30, so I bought it. And I started playing it yesterday or the day before. And dude, if you want to talk about like this game, you could tell the people that made this game just love Half-Life.
Oh, really?
And they like it's like, but it's like a the main guy that helps you is like the scientist who's like balding. It's like a fucking parody of Half-Life. And there's all this like interdimensional shit and like aliens and like.
Is it good though?
It's really cartoony and everything. Here's the thing is that it doesn't control very well.
Weird.
Everything else about it, I'm like, it's fine. Like it like I'm okay with the characters being all goofy and like because the characters are fun and the voice acting is fun and everything. I'm okay with the animations being clunky and weird, and because this was made by like one guy or something, and so I'm okay with all that. But like, I never know where I'm aiming in this fucking game. I'll literally point the gun at someone, and I'll pull the trigger, and I'm like shooting the floor. Or like I'm shooting the fucking ceiling and shit. And I'm like, what is going on here? It's like if I put both hands on the gun and I focus really hard to make sure that the reticles are lined up and I pull the trigger, I will shoot what I'm aiming at. But there is zero tolerance for moving your reticle at all out of like the little zone. And dude, I was telling Sarah before I came up here because I was playing it a little bit between work and when we started the podcast, and I was getting so frustrated because like they drop you in a room and there's all these bad guys and I'm like shooting just fucking wildly, missing everything that I'm aiming at, and I'm dying and like, and I'm like, I think I was just, dude, Resident Evil did it so fucking good.
I know it's
so good that I think it's just like it ruined this type of game for me. Like, I don't know. Like, now maybe this game is just bad at it. And maybe if I play other games like, I don't know, freaking Crossfire or
Pavlov. What was that?
Or Pavlov or something.
What was the
maybe
one?
It would maybe be fine.
Synapse, maybe?
Or Synapse. Yeah, maybe they would be fine. Maybe this game just kind of because I'll be honest with you, I have a feeling that there may be a little bit of auto aiming going on in Resident Evil that kind of make you feel like a badass, but that's part of the experience. But the other thing too is like aiming the guns feel very natural in Resident Evil. Yeah. Whereas like in this game, they don't. Like your hands have to be in like a weird position to line up the reticles and stuff, and like I'm really bummed out about it. I gotta be honest with you. I'm not even pissed about spending the $30 or anything. I'm just bummed because the characters and the world and like it's all goofy and I really like it and I love the voice acting and stuff. But like I'm so frustrated trying to fucking shoot bad guys that I just want to throw my controller.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
So I'm a little bit bummed out about that. But I'm probably gonna try and play a little bit more of it, try and stick with it or whatever.
You should have got Switchback VR,
dude. I should have just fucking bought Synapse is what I should have bought because it was the same price and that game is supposedly really cool, but the one thing that turned me off about it is that I think it's a roguelike.
Didn't they also say about Synapse? Didn't mean to cut you off. Didn't they say that like it requires a lot of movement and stuff? Like it's really engaging in that way.
It wouldn't surprise me, but oh, dude, you want to talk about? So this game has also got some like bugs where like there's this one section where you get into this flying vehicle. And you're like flying around and you have to man this turret to like shoot these robotic helicopters that are coming after you or whatever. When the thing that you're in is turning, your vision does not turn with the aircraft. So you're constantly having to reorient yourself over the gun and then aim. And then sometimes the position of your character will actually move around inside of the aircraft. So like my hands will be on the turret, but my arms are stretched out really long because I like backed away from it. So I gotta like walk. Dude, it's fucked. But like, I don't know. Like I could overlook that stuff if they just sorted the aiming shit out. And maybe there is a way. I need to Google it. Maybe there's a way you can fix it. But like, I don't know. I want to love this game, but it's really frustrating me. But that's as far as my games go. That's it. I kind of wish I'd have just saved my $30 and bought Resident Evil 4. I'm not gonna lie. Because I know for a fucking fact I would have loved that game. But part of me is like, well, maybe I'll play this shitty game. And then I'll play Resident Evil 4 and just be that much more excited about it. I don't know,
man. I'm glad you're playing VR, though. All right. Well, that was the games that we're playing. Thank you for that. And listener feedback is usually what we talk about. If you guys want to write this show, you can write us, psthisisawesome@gmail.com. Or you can leave comments on our YouTube videos. And I do want to say that I have been putting up shorts. I've told you last episode. I haven't put any new ones up in a while, but before we talk about the shorts, we did have a couple people write in about our topic last week was, are there too many games? And Big Box writes in. Thank you for still listening, Big Box. We appreciate the message. Big Box writes, guys, great topic this week. Legitimately unique. I just wanted to see if you distinguish between multiplayer and single player when it comes to getting quote-unquote lost in the noise. Recently, we've seen Lethal Company light up the charts, a game made by a 20-year-old Roblox creator with essentially zero budget. Multiplayer is littered with these kinds of examples. Dota, PUBG, Unturned, Valheim, Among Us, BattleBit Remastered, etc. It feels like a quality multiplayer game that can get 100 players has a chance to grow into a huge success without the help of marketing or media. It doesn't feel the same for an indie single-player game. Do you agree? And if so, what's the difference? I don't disagree with you. So, yeah, I kind of do agree with that. I feel like multiplayer, if you can get a couple people to play your game, the essence of multiplayer is kind of they call them multiplayer communities, right? And what do you do in a community is you share. So if you have something that you like and you want to be able to play it with people, you're going to tell other people, hey, you need to get on this and play this with me. You need to try this. And then that person tries it. And then they're like, oh, yeah, hey, I'm going to tell my friends so they can play. And then that exponentially just can grow a game. Whereas single player, in my opinion, is you're not playing with anybody else. So you don't. There's no reward for talking about games that you have a good experience with unless you really care about your gaming friends and you want them to try a cool experience. And if you gravitate towards single player games, there's a chance that you probably don't have a lot of friends that play games. So, I think that might be the root of all this. But thanks for writing in. Happy 2024 to you as well. Jake, you got anything on this?
I guess this is kind of a tough question.
Big Box is good for
to
those.
Answer, because I would agree that it's probably easier for a good multiplayer game to hit because people, like you said, are going to want more people to play. So it's going to sort of take off, has a better chance of taking off. But multiplayer games are much easier to die because if they don't get that bump and explode, they're not carrying the player count. They're going to kill the server so they don't have to do maintenance and all that
or
kind
people
of
just
stuff.
aren't going to want to play it.
Right. Whereas a single player game may be harder to get to have that initial bang where it blows up, but it could have a much longer tail because it can exist in perpetuity. You don't need fucking servers to play a single player game. You don't have to worry about upkeep and content and all this other kind of shit. So I think that there might be, there's definitely, especially in today's day and age, I would say that he's probably correct that it is easier for actually, I don't know, because the thing is that I think it's easier for a multiplayer game to explode, harder for a multiplayer game to stick around. Because how many games have we talked about where it's there's been a lot of hype, comes out, bam, a gazillion players, and then 1 year later, all the servers are shut off because people stopped playing it after the first month. And it's okay, well, maybe the developer made their money back in that time or whatever, but multiplayer games have to have content in perpetuity unless it's a game unless it's
Among Us,
an add-on to a single player concept, like a Last of Us multiplayer, or think about maybe a Halo 3 multiplayer or something like that. But I feel like single player games you could create, think about this is a very bizarre analogy that almost nobody will get. But think about the Sugar Man. That dude made a fucking tape and quit playing music, and then 20 years later found out that he was a hero to a whole population of people across the world.
Like Chile or something.
And it's a single player game can have that kind of second life where they created it, it got online, it didn't get the storefront presence that maybe it deserved, so it didn't get found. But then over time, the right person picked that game up, posted it on their Instagram or whatever, and now everybody's talking about it. And now 2 years after this game comes out, it becomes a smash hit because it doesn't need to have any kind of live service element to it. And multiplayer games don't have that luxury. So I think it's much more common for I don't know, man. It's a crapshoot. I don't want to say that it's much more common for multiplayer games to die than single player games, but it's I think that it's just, it really boils down to luck.
Yeah.
You have to have the right people playing your games
at the right time.
And marketing does play a toll, but it has to be at the right time. You have to have a good game, but you also have to have a game that is sustainable over time. And I don't know, nowadays people's attention span is so short that you can't, I guarantee you, what were we talking about? Lethal Company. That game is the fucking bee's knees right now. But I don't know that game is going to be as big as it is in perpetuity. Like, it's not going to be the fucking next Fortnite. Maybe it will be, but like, you know, it's strange. These things come and go, and no matter what, you're taking a risk when you put a game out there. The only thing that you can do is hope that somebody looks at it.
Yeah.
And the problem is that the tools and everything, like this, like Big Box said himself, this guy was a Roblox creator. You can create Roblox games for fucking free and sell them online. And it's like, and essentially you can use Unity for free. You can use Unreal Engine for free. Like, anyone who knows how to type 2 words into a computer can make a fucking game now.
How many?
And that's why there's so many out there.
How many games are created by people just making games on Roblox? Is this lightning in a ball? This kid just get lucky? I don't know. I haven't played this game.
Well, I don't know. I don't think that this game was created in Roblox.
Okay, fair enough then.
But I could be wrong about that. It was just like he made a game in Roblox where he kind of had some success with it.
Oh, right.
Like
Yeah. I'm familiar with Lethal Company, right. Yeah, so I got lost in the weeds there for a minute. I agree.
So, but anyway.
It's a great question. I think if we can unlock the answer to some of these things we've been talking about this episode and last episode.
Also, I will, one last note, even though like we didn't fucking answer Big Box's question at all.
I did.
My one last note is that indie games have another sort of mark against them in that it seems like nowadays very few people want to play anything that isn't like a $200 million AAA game. So if it's not the next fucking, I'm going to use Call of Duty as an example, even though I don't really mean that, but if it's not like
Assassin's
this next
Creed or Division
huge fucking thing, people are going to be like, I don't care about that. In the single player space.
Right.
Whereas like, and believe me, I know that's fucking hyperbole. I know there are people that love indie games. I know that this is not like a dead art form or anything like that, but it's like, I don't know. I don't want to rehash the same argument that we had last week.
Fair enough.
But, you know, it is cool that in the multiplayer games space, somebody can make a game like Among Us and it blows up. But it doesn't blow up because Among Us is that great of a game. It's because the experiences that people have with each other while they're playing it. Or like these Human Fall Flat and like fucking games like that where it's just hilarious people's interactions
They're almost like
with each
social
other.
experiences or experiments.
Right. Or, you know, I would say like a more like even Lethal Company is a similar experience. Like the reason why that game is blowing up is because it's fucking hilarious to like have your friends in proximity chat and like one of them gets killed and you don't know if he's alive or dead or like what's going on and like all this weird shit's happening and you have to work together and
or just lose contact with somebody you were talking with.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's very interesting. And I would love to see some like more legitimate experimentation or more like, I would love to see like an actual like scholarly study done on something like this.
Yeah. I'm sure
like
there have been like theses and stuff written about game development and why some work and why don't. And I'd be interested to dive into that and look.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's almost like marketing, right? You just gotta like be able to analyze the way that humanity thinks.
The psychology, like you gotta be an expert marketing.
In groupthink or something. Yeah, like it's very, very weird. Well, anywho,
yeah. The next write-in we got was from One Black Talon. Good to see you again. And they write, the new Prince of Persia game runs at 120 FPS. I will be able to play this on my new TV. I believe both of you have TVs that support 120 FPS. And I do. Jake, you have a 120, right?
I don't know if my TV natively supports it or not, to be honest with you. I've never tried.
Mine does. I know mine does because I
Samsung's
played Destiny at this frame rate, and it worked, and it was awesome. I used like the eARC channel or whatever special port you got to use to get that, and it was cool. Yeah, we do. I hope you enjoy the new Prince of Persia game, man. If you get it, let us know what you think. I just wish, well, I've only played the demo, but I just wish that it was a little more faster paced. Everything else about it was fine. I just feel like it, for the style of game it is, I wanted it to be a little bit more. You know what I mean? That kind of like arcade music, but it was just more like and that was like the vibe of Prince of Persia as opposed to the other thing I just mouthed. So real quick, we posted a short, Jake, about this indie talk that you had where you were talking about maybe PlayStation offering an incentive. And man, this thing fucking blew up, and I had no clue this was going to happen. We had almost, it's probably at 3,000 views now. We had like almost 100 likes, which is like the most any video we've ever posted for the podcast. And we had like tons of comments. I'm just going to dive real quick into some of these, just because it was actually a feat of the podcast. To reiterate what you said they should give you the option to buy a brand new game for like $70 and then charge you $10 more and throw in like an indie game that maybe you wouldn't have checked out otherwise. And you were like, every fucking time I would do this. So you can imagine what people were saying. So the first person writes in, Exalted Space 9224 says, for me, no. Mostly due to my massive backlog, but also sincerely, I'm rather picky on what games I buy and when. For me, this seems like gambling for a game I probably wouldn't like. So, all right, fair enough.
I get that. I get it.
Yeah.
This isn't a compulsory thing. Like you would opt in.
Yeah, it's not mandatory. Like you say, maybe I'll roll the dice this time around. Maybe not for you, Exalted Space, but thanks for writing in. And there's also not any right or wrong reaction to this, which I thought was interesting.
Correct. Yes.
Because the whole scenario is a hypothetical to begin with, which I think is hilarious. And this is what people want to fucking talk about. Some made up idea you had. Merkage3 writes in, that's a horrible idea. What the fuck? Just buy indie games? And I will say the post got like about 100 likes. And everyone who liked it, I'm thinking, are in agreement with you, Jacob. A lot of the comments were like, maybe not. So, I
think that
there wasn't a lot of context in the short either.
Yes, that's true. But I think the idea is just like, it's not. The problem is you go on the fucking store. Like if there was context, if they listened to the episode, they would have known that we talked about the fact that when you go on the store, there's like 10 million fucking games on
and it's
there.
Impossible to pick one if you never heard of them. Yeah.
And it's like, hey man, just like I'm a working fucking adult man that doesn't have 3 hours to browse the fucking store,
and read every
watch
review
a
on
bunch of trailers and all this stuff. It's like, hey, I want to try something new. Fucking hit me. And like some people are into that experience, you know, where it's just like,
that's what all these like boxes are. Like, oh, you want a loot crate? Oh, you want a blah 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 makeup box? Or oh, you want a, you know,
they even make mystery Doritos,
right?
Where it's like you get the fucking bag of Doritos and you don't know what flavor they are
because you have analysis paralysis, right? You can't think.
That's what it is, man.
You can't make a decision, so you let someone else just fucking make it for you. For $10, you're saying, no sweat off my shoulders. You tell me what you think I might like, and I'll give you $10 and I'll give it a shot. So
to be clear, I think that the developer of the game should get paid for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
100%.
It's not like I'm not paying them. I'm just not actively choosing which game I buy.
Right. And ELIA Tom 36 Gaming 91 writes in, or just browse indie games. You're missing the point, person, because the point was that like there's too many. Like just throw us one. Go check out the last episode. And then Doug Smith 1005 must have had a really a really wild hair because you go in. I'm like, is this even on the right video? I'm going to read this because it's hilarious, and I'll read through it quick. They write, all these $60 to $200 games are coming out broken and not worth the money as is. Forza Motorsport being a perfect example. The game is literal garbage and a step down from the last iteration in almost every way, with absolutely nothing new added. Car selection is worse. Track selection is worse. Single player worse. No working replays. No stats. Tire wear, miles per gallon is completely different from single to multiplayer for no reason that I have, or no reason than to have one set of races every other week that require pit stops, disappearing tracks. Game literally wouldn't post for a large number of players for weeks. Penalty system is garbage. Off-track, quote-unquote, curbs meant to strip corner cutting are unrealistic, invisible crash walls that do nothing in multiplayer where it would matter, but destroy your car in single player if you look at them funny. No drift lobbies, even though they copy pasted drift suspension from previous games. No drag races, same thing. And instead of fixing any of these things, they're winning awards while having an extremely negative score on Steam or any other player-based rating system. All the media assholes keep giving it 10 out of 10 so they can keep getting early access to keep reviewing and getting clicks. Sorry for the rant, but the industry is beyond broken right now with Fallout, Cyberpunk, that space game, anything from EA or Bethesda, NBA 2K, Madden are some of the worst offenders. All this, and this is the time you think people would want to spend $10 extra to package something that is usually $10 or less by itself anyway? Just so a large corp can take 60% of the sale of the indie game anyway, then Sony can rake their 25%, and the indie dev gets maybe more sales, but walks away from programming since they're taking home less than 10% of sales after taxes. This dude, we must have caught Doug Smith on a bad fucking day. But it's so funny. Dude, I read this.
He is so fucking mad about Forza.
Yeah, dude, it's literally. I saw this and I was so happy to read it because at first I was like, were we talking about Gran Turismo? Did he post on the wrong post? No, and then the last paragraph. Or the last two paragraphs or whatever, it's just like, yeah, no, this is the time you want to spend $10 to take something away.
Dude, I gotta say, I appreciate this write-in for its passion. And I do agree that there is a seemingly increasing problem with games not working right out of the box. I think a lot of that has to do with online stuff and things like that. But this guy's, he must have had just either he just really hates the new Forza game, or he's had maybe a string of bad experiences. Bro, maybe just take a break from gaming for a little bit.
Dude, he's so upset.
You're this upset with the way that the industry is. I do agree. I do agree with you.
I do as well.
Mr.
Yeah, there's
Smith.
a lot of fucking broken games.
I do agree that there is a problem with it, and that there is something inherently wrong with big business kind of controlling when games get released and stuff. But on the flip side of that, people only want games that cost $300 million. So the company that's funding that is going to be pushing to get that game out ASAP so that they can get their money back. So there is an element of push and pull with the industry where we have to accept games that are a little bit smaller, a little bit more contained.
Not broken games, though. We're not saying accept broken games.
No, we're not saying broken. We're just saying a little bit more reasonable in terms of scope, so that they don't cost nearly as much money. Now, I understand that it's not that simple. Blah 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 blah. Big businesses are going to be greedy and all this stuff. Shit's going to happen no matter what. I get it. But I do think that like the last statement he made about the freaking percentage of sales and stuff, I mean, I think that's a little bit hyperbole. But because yes, this may or may not be true if they've got like a publisher, right? And then Sony might take their let's say they take their 30% because that's like the going rate, and then let's say that the developer hasn't paid their game off yet.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, the publisher takes the other
They recoup
70% until the game is paid off, and then they give royalties to the developer, at which point they might get, depending on their agreement, they get anywhere from, I don't know, let's just say 0% all the way up to freaking 70%.
But yeah, dude, and in your hypothetical situation, though, this indie developer, because they're part of this possible opt-in program, this fake hypothetical program, has more visibility and a higher probably percentage of someone paying money for their game, right? As opposed to just sitting on the store and never being played.
Well, that's the thing, is that like their game is still for sale. Like this would just be, it's not like they're in my hypothetical fucking world. The developer is not losing any money. So even if they only make 10%, they're making 10% that they wouldn't make otherwise. Because remember, the person buying the game doesn't know they're getting this game. It's not like they're choosing to pay for it at a discount.
Right.
It's just they're getting it randomly. Mm-hmm. And for the convenience, the developer takes a decreased sum of money, but that's a sale they wouldn't get otherwise.
Right.
So it's like, now maybe if like you get this scenario where the person buying the game is like, oh man, I'm really thinking about buying fucking I don't know, Narita Boy. But I don't want to spend the money. And then they roll the dice out when they're buying God of War, and they just happen to get Narita Boy as their fucking game. And so the developer, instead of getting the full price because they were going to buy it anyway, they didn't get that because they got it on this whatever gambling program or whatever we want to call it. It's like I feel like
dude, let me just say
there's
this.
There's a lot of passion in this statement, and I think we're missing the forest through the trees a little bit.
Well, let me say this. Of all of the 312 episodes after this is released that we've had gaming talk, your hypothetical PSN store blurb has brought us the most attention that we've ever had, which is absolutely hilarious.
I would love to see more write-ins like this. Like, I don't want write-ins where people are like being mean to us or anything, but like just like people who are passionate and want to like share their thoughts and give us a chance to like sort of respond to them, especially if it's about something that we say. The other thing that I noticed about this statement too, and I think this is just hyperbole bred from passion, but it's like what game costs $200? Like, unless you're one of these people paying for like the $200 fucking super ultra deluxe edition of Far Cry 6 or whatever the fuck it is that comes with like a designer trash can or whatever the fuck
that might be that might be commentary on the increase in game prices these days, right? That might just be like,
it could be. Like I said, it could be just he's just being hyperbolic.
60 to whatever the hell they're going to be down the road, right? Possibly $200 fucking dollars for a game down the road. I don't think we're anywhere close to 200, but yeah, I mean, Grand Theft Auto 6 might cost $100. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they'll do it, but you're right. It could happen, and people would gladly pay it. But to be fair, most of the time, they put out games that aren't broken. But also remember, Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to cost like $2 billion to make. So if they want to charge $100 for it, they're going to charge $100 for it.
They're going to make so much money on pre-orders alone for that fucking game.
They'll probably make all their money back on pre-orders.
Oh, yeah. more than all their money back. Yeah, they're going to make a profit on pre-orders. I guarantee it.
We need to move on.
It's getting so late.
It's already fucking 8:00. Yeah,
great podcast,
we got to rip through these news.
We will.
I agree. We've been talking real good.
There's not,
and I love these write-ins. I hope we get some more feedback from the listeners. And I'm glad that at least 100 people liked my silly fucking example or idea that probably would never actually work in practice.
I don't know,
but
I think it's genius.
I just think it's a cool thing. Like, I love these little buy-ups where you get just like, just think about those fucking, remember those gumball machines, but instead of gumballs, it would be like, you would get like a little plastic egg and it would have like a fucking ring in it, or like a sticky hand or something like that. It's like, that shit is cool, like just being able to be like, I know I want a trinket and I just want to see what the fuck I get. And it's like, okay, roll the dice, 10 boners.
Jesus. Real quick on the stats on that video again, real quick, because it's so funny to me. I'm gonna click it in the people might actually hear it play here. There's 2.5 thousand views. Okay, here we go. Of 2,500 views of all the people that weighed in on it, you have a 92.1% like rate, which means
nice.
Way more people that watched that video agreed with your opinions than disagreed. So, and the people who disagreed are probably the 3 or 4 that had to write a comment and weigh in on it, which is fine. You're welcome to do that. But
yeah,
I think you had 7 dislikes and 82 likes.
Nice.
Those are pretty good fucking odds.
I think so.
That's a good percentage of the room you won over. So, good job.
Dude, if freaking 92% or 91% like ratio or whatever the hell it is. If I got that out of everything that I ever said, man, they'd be doing good in life.
Be doing really good.
Tell you what.
Man, we'll be doing really good, man. All right, let's move on. I just wanted to
let's just rip through this.
Yeah, so first news point. We talk about news every episode. We don't break the news. We just merely have quick discussions, and it will be quick today because I don't think you guys are tuning in to hear us talk about the news. I think you're tuning in to hear us fucking just do what we just did. We brought it. All right. In recent news, the long-awaited Elden Ring downloadable content appears to be imminent. The downloadable content will be titled Shadow of the Erd Tree. Bandai Namco has updated their playlist on YouTube, implying that this is very soon to be on the way. Apparently, this is something they do. So they have a new YouTube playlist thing all mapped out on their YouTube channel. So keep an eye out. So don't know when it's going to release, but it sounds like it's happening. Jake, anything? Or are we moving on?
To be fair, I did like what I played of Elden Ring. I just don't have the stamina for these games, and I would be interested to jump back in a little bit, but I know that this expansion is going to be some fucking crazy late game shit, and you're going to have to like jump through some portal in the middle of a dragon's butthole to like get to it.
Yeah.
And, like, it's going to be something really crazy. So I am probably not going to play this, but I'm glad for the people that really like Elden Ring that they're getting something.
Yeah, me too. Very good. Next news point. And we are going to just keep moving. I'm going to write down the timestamp. This is 1:33.
Rolling.
Genshin Impact fans, good news. Update 4.4 is on its way, and it's locked to update on 1/31/24. So the very last day of January, you will be getting this update. Along with the update are going to be improvements to the visualizations in the game. They're going to be adding new technical components, which they're calling the Global Far Fog and the Gradient Tint Rock. And this is going to be adding a brand new area. It's going to add to a brand new area in the game called Chenyu Vale. So all it is they're just adding more visualization to their world. Like the tint rock just adds like different gradients to different rocks in the distance and stuff. It's a visual enhancement. And then like the fog is just like there's more clouds in the distance, like fog, like low hanging fog in different areas. That's all it is. But people are Genshin, that's something because this is a cell phone game. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't care about Genshin Impact at all, but I do love the combination of words global far fog.
Oh, Jesus. I feel, yeah. I don't know. I'm going to find a way to use that in my vernacular.
It sounds like it could be like a freaking, some orc character in like a, fantasy game or something like that. This is
Global Farfog has stolen the local fucking keg from the town's inn, and the band of heroes need to go acquire it and find it and kill Global Farfog. It does, yeah. Farfog. Farfog is a great one word, yeah. Next news point. I like that. So this one is fine. Bungie finally trying to require some lost love from fans. They're adding the ability now to finally change your character from your vanilla run of Destiny. You can change your character appearance now in an update coming prior to the release of their DLC, The Final Shape. So
I didn't know you couldn't do this.
I think it has something to do with like your first character or something.
Interesting.
Or maybe any of the characters. I've dialed out of Destiny for quite a while. So, you know.
It's just so like I love the game. I'm not gonna lie. It is so fun to play, but I cannot keep up with it. I can't keep up with it. And then like even the story, like it's so hard for me to follow when I'm playing because I'm so far behind, and like they always feed you like your ghost will feed you these story bits like in the middle of a fucking firefight, and I'm like, I can't pay attention to what you're saying right now. I'm shooting things. And like but that said, I really want the Final Shape to be good. Like, and it's not just because Sony owns Bungie and I want them to be successful. It's because Destiny 2 is such a great game, and it's in such a bad place right now that I want to see it come back and have this fucking awesome swan song before they move on to Marathon or whatever the fuck it is.
Well, I do have one question for you. And there's no wrong answer. What do you think the Final Shape will be?
A tetrahedron.
Okay, I was going to say polyhedron.
Yeah.
Which essentially is a tetrahedron. But yeah, I bet you are right. I bet you it's a tetrahedron that shows up, and that's the final boss in the Final Shape. It's just this big fucking tetrahedron, which would be great. Very good. Very good. All right, another news point here. For anyone interested in Nier Automata, a lot of people probably are. I think there was a new Nier trailer recently, but there's a game announcement from China Hero Project, which is a Sony-owned thing, and it's titled AI Limit, which is kind of like a Nier game, it looks like, with Souls gameplay. I'm kind of over the Souls kind of gameplay shit, but this studio was also the studio behind Fist Forged in Shadow Torch, which was that Metroidvania 2D platformer that has been going on sale more and more lately. It's been
talk about indie games that I've almost bought like 100 times.
Fist?
That fucking Fist
Yeah,
game.
me too.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
It does look really cool.
AI Limit looks cool too, to be honest, from what I've seen, but I'm not into the roguelike shit or the Souls kind of style of gameplay, but it's probably for somebody. Moving on to the next one, and this is kind of a no-brainer. I mean, if this didn't happen, there'd be major fucking recourse. As you guys know, I talked about it. I picked up The Last of Us 2 remaster, for the PS5. Sony was offering a pre-order for this, and there's kind of like a what do they call it? Not the golden path, but there's a upgrade path for this game. A lot of people who owned The Last of Us 2 on PS4 could have used the upgrade path for $10 to get this game, but they pre-ordered it for $50. And then they later announced the upgrade path, but they were already in on the pre-order. Sony is...
You can't cancel pre-orders on PSN.
So they're refunding the money. Yeah, Sony's refunding the money. So that's nice, but another reason why you shouldn't fucking pre-order anything. But I'm guilty of it. I've done it a few times.
Yeah, Doug Smith, you want to talk about broken shit in the industry? Fucking the pre-order system. Tell you what, pre-orders are probably part of the reason why we get broken fucking games.
Yeah, that's probably a big reason. They want that money up front. And then when the pre-orders come out, they're obliged to put that shit out when they say they're gonna. So, all right, next one, Jake. This one is interesting. And, you were talking a bit about Gran Turismo, and Doug Smith was talking about Forza. And what we don't have a lot in way of driving games in this world right now are kind of like arcade racers. I really liked whatever the fuck game that was, Wipeout Omega Collection. I kind of enjoyed the Hot Wheels Unleashed game. There's a couple racers that are kind of more arcadey. Like, remember back in the day that game Pole Position? It was really fun. It was like an indie car race game. What was the one where you're in a Corvette? It was an arcade game.
You're talking about Cruise? Like
Cruise USA? Yeah. Shit like that. Anyways, there's a new game announced. It's called New Star GP. And it seems kind of cool. It's super arcadey looking. But I think it's all indie racing, indie cars. But it might have very, very light sim shit in it. But it looks cool, man. Like, I want a light racing game. You know, we don't have to fucking worry about tire pressure. You know? I don't have to worry about fucking crazy ass pit stops and knowing how much fucking, I don't know, torque to put on whatever, this, that. It looks cool. I hope this game does well.
Yeah, I'm watching a trailer of it now, and it kind of looks like a
Pole Position.
It looks like an F1 game, but like if it was
arcade,
you know, almost like cartoony kind of. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just arcadey, and it's got some like weird Lego vibe almost. Like it's neat.
There's not enough shit like this. Do you remember the old games on Nintendo, like the RC games? You remember those games? Like the radio control games? Those were fucking rad. Anyways, we need more games that are less serious. You know, I can appreciate a race sim game because I love Gran Turismo 7 also in VR. That's great. It's great fun. And the GT Motorsports and stuff is all kind of cool. But, man, I think some days you don't want to fucking have to worry about all that shit. You just want to fucking race around a track and not have, you know, I think there's a place for both styles, and I'm happy to see this game has been announced. And we're almost finished up here for the podcast for the day. This next one is the Game Developers Conference. There was a recent report that was discussed there. And 35% of game development studios have been affected by layoffs. Jake, my question is this just the counterbalance to a bloated industry? Or is this a reflection of possibly companies not being able to meet the profits that they expected to make? How many of these layoffs were a direct result of the integration of AI recently? I mean, this is such a deep question, a loaded question. We don't have to address it all now, but I want the listeners and you, Jake, to ruminate on this, and maybe we'll revisit it next episode. I think that what a lot of people don't realize is that during COVID, the pandemic, there was an absolute ballooning in the industry. And I think that, like, it was like, oh, fuck, everyone's going to be locked up at home with nothing to do. Let's fucking make all these games. Let's hire all these people. Let's everybody work from home. Let's everybody do this. And, you know, a lot of the world has kind of bounced back from this shit. And now we have, hence the title of last episode's podcast, we have too many fucking games. And we have broken games and we have issues. And, like, to be clear, layoffs in the video game industry, those two words are, like, they might as well be baby brothers. I mean, those things have happened in the games industry for so long. You know, you go in, you work on a project, and then, you know, probably a lot of people expect to probably get laid off eventually. And it shouldn't come as a surprise if it happens. Does it suck? Yes, but I think it's just all part of the beast of being a creative person or an artist or whatever. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know, Jake. I don't know the answer to this. That seems like a high number. 35% of studios have been affected by layoffs. But, I mean, is that really a high number? I don't know.
It's tough to say. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a freaking economist. I don't know anything about the video game industry from that perspective. But I will say that I think you are right about the fact that everybody staffed up because of what happened during COVID. Everything ballooned. People were working from home. You could hire anyone from anywhere, yada, yada, yada. Then when COVID ended, less people were playing games because they were only playing them because they were home during COVID and all this stuff. So sales have maybe gone down a little bit in certain circumstances, but at the same time, the price of labor keeps going up. And take all that and combine it with the fact that there is an election this year. So you typically on election years, big companies will choose to be fiscally conservative in case the result of the election creates a downturn in the economy, which can happen. So not to mention inflation is going crazy because of everything that happened during COVID and the fallout from that. And the economy just in general has not been that great for things. So, even though, don't get me wrong, I'm not defending big businesses.
You're such an apologist, man.
Saying that that is for sure that they're just like, oh, we need more money, blah blah blah. But at the same time, it's like the other thing that we got to remember too is that a lot of these companies are publicly traded, and it is their responsibility, like literal responsibility to their shareholders
to not waste money,
to not only not waste money, but to increase the value of the business constantly.
Yeah.
So that also can have an effect on this as well. So even a lot of people like to paint it black and white and say things like, oh, well, the video game industry is making more money than ever. Why are we laying off people and all this stuff? And it's just like, yeah, revenue is up higher than ever, but costs are also higher than ever. So are profits more than they ever were? I don't know that that's necessarily true. Revenue might be up, but that doesn't mean profits up.
Right.
And all that companies and shareholders and things like that care about is increase in valuation, which a lot of times is based on profit. So I don't know. This is really like out of pocket for me because I don't know anything about any of this stuff. I'm not a businessman.
Well,
I don't claim to understand anything.
It's an interesting
thing. All I know, just like one last statement, is all I know is that I feel bad for the people that got laid off. That's all that I know. But I do agree with you that people like to forget, and maybe people don't know about this. Maybe this has only been more recently publicized. But forever, the rule of thumb in the video games industry was a lot of developers jumped project to project. That was the type of industry that it was. You were on a game. After that game, you got laid off. You went to a new company. You were on a game. After that game, you got laid off. You went to a new company. Very few studios actually held staff permanently.
For more than like a single project, right? Yeah.
Right. You're talking about studios like Naughty Dog and Bethesda Game Studios and stuff that like held their teams together. That was, I don't want to say it was a rarity, but it wasn't necessarily the overwhelming majority of studios did that.
Right. Yeah.
So,
retention of staff is just not usually synonymous with video game developer companies. Yeah.
Right. I just think that it's definitely a lot more publicized nowadays, and maybe it is a little bit worse now because of the economic reality.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect
And I
storm.
think that it's causing a lot of issues. I just hope that the people that are getting laid off, they are finding other jobs.
Right.
So I don't want to see anyone, get thrown into the street.
Yes, sir. No, me either. Me either. Moving forward, maybe we won't revisit that because I feel like you've said enough about it. Moving forward, quick follow-up on a news story I think we talked about at one point. Remedy Entertainment and Rockstar, which is Take-Two.
Yeah.
Both have logos rather that are the letter R. There was apparently some kind of trademark filing dispute, to which Remedy or a source from Remedy has come out to indicate that it's all been resolved amicably and the filing was a formality. So apparently Take-Two Interactive filed some sort of trademark infringement file or something about this. And then the two studios apparently have worked things out amicably, which who knows what the fuck that really means. Did money exchange hands? I can't imagine, because Remedy has every fucking right to use the letter R, just as Take-Two does. There's not a star in the Remedy logo, and there's a star in the Rockstar logo. They're both different fucking fonts. To be honest, Remedy's is way cooler.
Yeah, it is definitely cooler. I think that there could be an argument made in a legal sense that since both of these studios are AAA studios in the same industry, ostensibly competing against one another, that there could be a comparison made between the logos that could be confusing for
consumers,
commerce. And so Rockstar may be able to say, well, we had this shit first. Can you at least change your logo a little bit? And to be fair, if it's Rockstar that filed the lawsuit, I think they're just being bullies, to be honest with you, because nobody who knows anything believes that the fucking Remedy logo is the Rockstar logo.
Not even close. I mean, they are, because they're both ours, right? But yeah, they're not.
Yeah,
really
I don't know.
close.
I feel like that this is a little bit silly, but I don't know.
What sucks is I sense a little bit of bullying, because I believe the person who spoke to the press was somebody affiliated with Remedy, not Rockstar. Rockstar apparently haven't made any public statement about this. And the guy from Remedy, or whoever the contact was like, the way they describe, I'm whatever the word, paraphrasing, is like the way we've really come to terms. We agree that, yeah, all right, they had to file it. It was a formality. No, they didn't fucking have to file it. They didn't have to. They're being fucking dickheads because they have all this fucking money. Let's call it what it is, right? You don't have to kiss their ass because you've settled things amicably. You could have said, yeah, it was kind of a fucking low blow, but listen, we got it sorted. It's sorted out. Who fucking cares, right? It's fine. But they were like, yeah, it's not. It's water under the bridge. It was a formality. They didn't mean anything by it. Fuck, they didn't. That's them protecting their shit, man.
Or just some company lawyer making waves.
I'm sure it probably was. Right? Yeah,
that's probably all it is.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move forward. Let's go to this one was interesting, and so Harry Potter. Harry flippin' Potter took the lead in 2023 for the highest selling game in the United States. We were all secretly wondering and probably rooting for Mr. Potter and company, because Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto have singularly held the number one sales for the last 14 years, each year after year after year. The streak has been broken, so thanks, Mr. Potter. Very good. I feel good about this. A game I've yet to play. I know our listener LJ, I believe, is playing this. Jake, you enjoyed your time with it?
So good. I love this game.
I fucking get it. I don't even know Harry Potter. Would I like it if I don't understand Harry Potter?
I don't think you would get as much out of it if you didn't you've never seen any of the movies or anything.
Harry Potter. No, I have, but I lose interest. I watch them, and it's easier for me to understand Lord of the Rings as opposed to Harry Potter for some reason, because there's like 8 fucking movies or however many movies there are. I know the names Dumbledore, Snape. I know Harry Potter. There's the names I think are hard for me to remember, because every time they say Snape, I want to think that they're saying snake, but they're not.
Well,
it's like I watched a show called Rectify, where one of the characters' name was Amantha and not Samantha, and it's like, just fucking say Samantha, because you're just trying to do something fucking different, right? Just call the guy Snake or Ape. I don't fucking care. Like, don't call him whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Snape. I hate it.
I think so. I fully believe that this is a game that you should pick up and try out if it's on a sale, because I think you would still like it, but you might not get as much out of it if you don't have at least a passing attraction to the universe. I personally feel like Harry Potter, from like a concept perspective, is a little bit silly, because it was originally written as like a children's book, and then they turned it into this serious thing. So even though like it's this serious thing and people are dying and all this shit's happening, people are still waving their wands around going abracadabra, and it's like, okay, this is a little bit fucking weird, but the game is awesome.
Who's the character? Who's the character that Harry meets in the first show on the train? He's like a big guy with a dog.
Are you talking about Hagrid?
Yeah, I know that name.
He doesn't meet Hagrid on the train, but yeah, it's before he gets on the train. But yeah,
Hagrid.
That's Hagrid.
All right, yeah. So I know that guy. But that's like literally, if you ask me what the fuck it's about, no clue. I just know that like Harry Potter lives in a closet under the stairs, and his parents treat him like shit. And then some kind of flying car shows up, and I think he gets taken away to like a subway station, and then gets on a train, and then they go through a wall or something, and it's called Diagonally, but it's like Diagon Alley. And then he ends
Diagon Alley.
Yeah, and then he ends up like being part of some sort of school of fucking wizard, which is like The Witcher, but like instead of being schools of like, witchers, there's schools of wizards, and they're all like a magic mop like tells them like what school they're in.
It's a fucking hat.
Oh,
but anyway,
that's all I know.
Honestly, the concept of Hogwarts is probably the coolest thing about the whole story. But yeah, dude, I definitely would give it a shot if you can get it cheap.
Okay.
Cause it's still like a fun open world kind of, but like light RPG kind of game. And it's beautiful. It's my biggest beef with the game is the fucking flying with the broom is kind of annoying. Quidditch. But other than that, like, there's no Quidditch in it. But, yeah. So, anyway, give it a shot.
All right. Anyways, good job. Lastly, I've got one last news point, and we're going to come in just under 2 hours for today's show. Thanks for listening to the podcast. The last news point is Helldivers 2 is gold. This shit is happening. It's coming February 8th. It is right around the corner. And it's also confirmed on the PlayStation blog that this game will be supporting crossplay, which makes me wonder, am I going to need a fucking mouse for this? A mouse and keyboard. Why would you need a
mouse?
Huh?
Why would you need a mouse?
Because it's going to be hard, man. Like, this is like one of those games I feel like aiming and bullets and accuracy and not killing your friends and killing people. Like, if there's going to be other people using a mouse and keyboard playing with me who has a controller, I'm going to be at a disadvantage.
Dude, it's not a fucking Twitch shooter. Like, I think you'll be okay.
Time will tell, because, dude, it's third person. I don't know. Top down, I'm good to go.
I guess we'll see. I think you'll be all right. I think it'll be fine. I feel like it was probably developed for console, and they're just making a PC version of it. So, but I could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe you'll be fucking lost with a controller.
Yeah, time will tell. I'm gonna be killed by all these drop pods. Anyways, that's it for today's show. There are no new games to talk about. Every episode we usually talk about the new games coming out. In fact, I'm sure there are, but I didn't do it. And in fact, I have my my closing here. I have the game titles here. You gotta give me 1 second, okay, guys? Can you just give me 1 second here while I get this locked and loaded? Jake, talk to the audience. What do you want to tell them before you leave for the day, for the week?
So I have this new, like, if people probably think I'm weird for doing this, but like, I have this fascination with non-alcoholic beer recently. And it's not that I don't drink or that I'm an alcoholic or anything. Like I don't,
That's what they
I
all
have
say,
a
by the
beer,
way.
I'll have a beer, a cocktail or anything like that. Like I have no problem with drinking alcohol, but non-alcoholic beer has historically been so fucking bad. And now all of these like microbrews and all of this stuff are starting to make it. They're even starting to make non-alcoholic spirits and stuff. And I'm just like, I'm fascinated by it. Like, I just want to taste all of it and see what it fucking tastes like, see if it's any good. Is it just hop water? What the hell is going on here? It's like when they originally started bringing out like these flavored seltzers. It's like you just kind of want to taste them all and see like what's going on here. Like, why is this a fad? Like, do people really like these things? And are some of them better than others and stuff? And so I been drinking a couple of like non-alcoholic, just random fucking microbrew made
Fucking really weird,
non-alcoholic beers.
I'm not
Just to,
judging.
like,
I'm not judging.
see-
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's very like I think there's this stigma behind it because it's like, why the fuck would you drink non-alcoholic beer? Like, only alcoholics drink.
Why
that
would you
shit.
drink
It's like,
soda? Right? Yeah.
yeah,
You can say that
it's
about
like-
anything.
It's like, bro, like,
Why
who
would you drink
fucking cares? Like,
caffeine-free coffee?
I'm curious, like, because I understand how beer's made. So to me, it's like I don't understand how non-alcoholic beer gets
Science
made and
project.
it doesn't taste like shit.
Right.
So it's like I am just fascinated by what people can come up
But
with.
to be clear, I think all
So-
beer tastes like shit. So I'm not surprised at all that it all sucks.
Fair enough.
But I hear what you're saying, and I know people have acquired taste for it. But man, yeah. And a second ago, I said, why would you drink non-caffeinated coffee, which is actually just decaffeinated coffee. So
I drink decaf.
right, like there's a word for that, but I couldn't think of it. I said, why would you drink non-caffeinated coffee? Decaf, you mean? Yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
So correct myself before some asshat on the internet wants to say something. I'm kidding. Yeah, please write into the show. Go dial us in on Patreon if you can. If you have $1 to spare each and every month, you will get the episode a little early. Maybe not a lot early, but early enough if you like what we're delivering here and you want to say thank you. That's the way to do it. Again, that's patreon.com/PS. This is awesome. Otherwise, we just appreciate you being here for the conversation. And that's all I've got. I still don't have a title for today's episode. And we're going to leave it at that. I got to get all this shit compiled and uploaded this evening. So without further ado, Jake, I hope everybody has a really nice week. And this has been episode 312 of PS. This is awesome. We've been around for a long time, baby. All right, so like Uncharted, A Legacy of Thieves, Ultimate Fishing Simulator, and Undertale. P.S.
Yes.
This is awesome.
This is awesome.